Howdy friends! Today we'll be talking about the bad things about the Insta360 Luna Ultra. Yes, just the bad things. Let's go. In my previous video, I got a lot of comments from quite a lot of you that I didn't focus on the bad things. I only mentioned the positive things and that I was a paid shill because I'm doing a sponsorship with Insta360. Full disclosure, this video is also sponsored by Insta360. They sent me the camera, I can use it and then I can keep it, make a few videos, and that's pretty much it when it comes to payment, and take it as you will. Now, before we get into the bad things, the way sponsorships work is, well, once you accept a sponsorship from a brand and you're promoting a product, you essentially become like an internet salesman. And of course, it would be kind of weird to expect that I would be focusing, or that any influencer who's marketing a product on internet would be focusing on the bad things. And honestly, there's not a lot of bad things about the Luna Ultra, but I will mention the comments that you guys gave and that you guys find to be, well, bad things about the camera. And starting off strong with the remote display and its microphone. So the first bad thing that one of you mentioned was the fact that the microphone on the remote display doesn't have a wind guard. Now honestly, I didn't really think about this. I think that the detachable screen is what sets this camera apart from the others, and the fact that it has a remote microphone on is just a really cool feature. And the microphone does feature noise reduction and, voice enhanced AI controlled audio, because the camera has like a triple AI chip. But the fact that it's not wind protected, I mean, it didn't even occur to me, honestly. And if you're going to use an external microphone in a windy situation, then get something like this. This is the Mic Pro. I really love this microphone. I think it's better than the DJI's Mic 2, which I also have. Just the fact that it's, the e-ink, you can have your own logo, and it's just a more, fun microphone to use. I mean, in terms of audio quality, it's right there with the others, but I like the round shape and the whole, logo and stuff. So if you want to go in a windy situation, then get something like this with the dead cat. And well, I mean, this is really useful if you don't have an external microphone and you want to go further away. I mean, it's just a cool solution. So to me, this wasn't really a bad thing, and honestly, I didn't even realize that it's not wind protected. So there you go, the first bad thing about the Luna Ultra. The next thing is the battery draining issue. One of you mentioned that if you leave your camera turned off, it drains about 20% of the battery if it's doing nothing within a day. Now, I didn't notice this issue with my unit. I mean, maybe a few percent, but I am using this camera constantly every day, so I'm also charging it. So I think if I would leave it on a shelf for a week, maybe there would be a battery drainage. Honestly, I cannot confirm this, but in a few days, allegedly, there will be a firmware update which Insta is addressing this whole battery draining issue from the remote to the camera. I had a similar issue with the Go Ultra, which also has a detachable camera. Now there I've noticed that the battery is draining, and I think it has to do with the whole connection and charging each other issue. So Insta are releasing, allegedly, a firmware update for this, and it should improve the whole battery draining problem. So I mean, I didn't have this problem, this is why I didn't mention it, but I guess it is something that is out there. So yeah, problem number 2. Now, the third thing that one of you mentioned, and I've seen this also in the Peter McKinnon video, is that the tripod legs, which are on these attachments, on the battery extension and this small attachment, are like not good. And honestly, I mean, let me just set you guys over here. I'm changing location so that this video would be more interesting visually, I guess. So on the Luna Ultra, the same as with the DJI pocket cameras, the camera doesn't have the camera plate screw, so you need an extra attachment. You have the small one and you have this one, which is like an extended battery, very familiar from the Pocket 3 that I also have from DJI. The cool thing that I find with both of these attachments is that, well, on the bottom you have these wire legs which kind of extend out. I mean, you've probably seen this, and this now serves as a mini tripod. And some of you guys had issues that, these legs are very flimsy, they're not very stable. I mean, I use them pretty much all the time, and yes, they're not, the strongest legs. I mean, they are just like a wire, but it's there. It's a feature that is present on the camera, and you don't need like an extra tripod and an extra mounting plate. So I didn't mention this to be a problem because I find it to be a really cool solution. And and it's these little things that make you sometimes jump ship from one brand to the other. So a very quick story. So you guys probably remember GoPro. They were the kings or the pioneers of the action camera. They pretty much invented it, and for the longest time they had like the ultimate monopoly over action camera stuff. And then DJI, this drone and gimbal manufacturer, comes in with their Osmo Action, and that was right about the time when I was buying my first action camera. So I was in a dilemma. Should I go with the GoPro, which are the greatest of all time, or should I go with this newcomer, this Chinese company that doesn't necessarily make action cameras? And that was the Osmo Action, and the GoPro had the Hero 8, I think. And in the end, after watching a lot of reviews, I went for the Osmo Action because it had a front-facing screen that the GoPro didn't have. Plus, it was a little bit cheaper, and it could go 1 meter deeper underwater, which for me has absolutely no, I don't dive. But the whole front screen was the selling point, and it was such an innovative thing that I went for DJI. And ever since, I was a DJI user. I had a lot of their action cameras, and even the Pocket 3, which was my favorite vlogging on-the-go camera. But now, fast forward a few years, Insta comes out with their own action camera, the Ace Pro and the Ace Pro 2, which in my opinion is one of the best action cameras ever made. It was the first 8K action camera, plus it had a tilt-up screen, which is like that front-facing screen on the DJI a few years ago. The tilt-up screen is what sold the camera to me, and not because you can just tilt it up and have a bigger front screen. It's because with action cameras, you typically get those low-to-the-ground shots, and having a flip-up screen that can, rotate 90 degrees makes filming with that camera so much easier. And whenever I went back to the Osmo Action 4, which I've actually given away to a friend who is doing a moto vlog, I never went back to the fixed back screen. It was always the Ace Pro 2. And now with the Luna Ultra, they've entered the pocketable gimbal camera scenario. And it's these little bonuses, the detachable screen with the microphone, the little tripod legs, and a few bunch of other stuff. That's why people, or I think maybe jumping ship from DJI to the Luna, because honestly, it does have much more to offer. Well, it does have more to offer than the DJI Pocket 4 Pro. No, but that's just my opinion, so take it as you will. It is a sponsored video, but I honestly think that these little things make a difference in the end. Okay, let's see how the noise reduction works. There's a fountain behind me, and I am in the shadow, and it's a really bright sky in the back. And one of the comments, or actually a few comments that you guys had, was that my sky is overblown. I'm completely not exposing correctly, and the camera doesn't have enough dynamic range. And honestly, with Dolby Vision, which I was using, I know it's supposed to be used on a wider gamut color space, and it's meant for HDR delivery, not SDR, but I think that Dolby Vision actually looks okay. Even if you put it on a Rec 709 timeline. Personal preference, I know I'm gonna have to dig into Dolby Vision in another video, but the whole overexposed sky in the back was one of the issues that I also kind of have with Insta, but it's fixable. Now the problem with many Insta360 cameras is that they have the face priority set for the exposure, so the camera is going to try and prioritize the brightness of my face, sacrificing the highlights in the back. And I am really in a dark shadow right now, and the background is probably completely blown out. But if you set that priority to matrix, which is going to average out the whole, the whole frame, and maybe make your face darker, but you can edit that in post-production and still retain the highlights, well, that pretty much solves the problem. And in the previous video, I had face priority on all the time, so yeah, my mistake. So let's switch it to the matrix right now. Now I'm darker and the background is not overexposed as much, and I can easily just lift the foreground, the dark areas up in post, and have this, like a more well-controlled exposure. Now, I am always shooting with iLog, and it's a 10-bit camera, and I love working with log footage, and I think this one actually is really good, especially now since it's 10-bit. And now for for the few issues that I personally have with the Insta360 Luna Ultra, and it doesn't only go for this camera, it goes for some other Insta360 cameras as well. And we're gonna start off with the remote display, and the one thing that is really annoying. As cool as this display is, I mean, you can see yourself, you can frame yourself, you can press the button and the gimbal will start tracking you if you so desire. There is one thing that happens when you pop this off the camera, and that is that the message appears that allows you to choose the internal microphone. And if you press and switch the audio to this microphone over here, then the message goes away. But if you choose to use the microphone that is on the camera, not this one, if you don't have this connected, if you just want to stay with the microphones that are on the camera body, well, you have to wait a few seconds for that message to go away. There is no way to dismiss the message. Even if I tap on the screen or swipe up, left, right, the message still stays. That's something that happens over other Insta360 cameras as well. When you get a pop-up message, you have to wait for it to go away by itself. So that's something that I hope Insta fixes in the future firmwares for all of their cameras. And another thing that I find really problematic is that I don't know what my exposure value is if I'm setting the exposure manually. So I can set my shutter speed to 1/50th like I have now with an ND16 ND filter. And if I set my ISO to, I don't know, 100, I don't see the exposure value. The exposure value is always 0 because it's set to 0. Now what I would really like is for the camera to show me the exposure value. This way I can assess what kind of ND filter I need for that 1/50th of a second shutter speed, which I want to have, in order to make the video look more cinematic and professional. And the fact that that is missing is a big problem for me personally, and I think it's easily fixable with a firmware update. So Insta maybe also consider showing that. I don't know if that's coming with the new firmware that's coming out in a few days, so fingers crossed. Apparently it's frog season. This is why in almost every video now there's a frog featured. And that's it. I hope I've answered some of the questions, and if you have any further comments, leave that down below, because that's really the reason why I'm making these videos. It's for the comments, not the views and the likes, honestly. Also, hit the like button and consider subscribing, and if you want to watch the previous video, then click on this one over here. Thank you. I'll see you on this one. Bye bye.